Okay, this Ask Energy question is a very blunt to the point. Should I take statins if I have high total cholesterol? Okay, first disclaimer. I am not a medical practitioner. I am a registered dietitian, health professional, which gives me a legal obligation to talk about, and legal permission, I guess, also to talk about blood lipids and lab results. However, because I'm not a physician, I cannot answer that question straight up. Please go to your physician and have that discussion with him or her. Now, that said, there is something I would like to talk about regarding statins and total cholesterol. Okay, here's the thing. Way back when, a lot of the landscape was if you have a high total cholesterol, which is usually above 200 milligrams per deciliter, something's wrong, right? Now, again, there's a little bit more to that story, but in the past, if you had high total cholesterol and a high LDL and a low HDL, sometimes physicians would recommend statins. Okay, now the landscape is changing quite a bit these days. And I don't know if you have heard of the first research study that is kind of looking at cardiovascular disease a little bit differently. I'll put the link down below, and I'll actually put the link to their YouTube video where they explain their research a little bit below, or a little bit more in the comments below. So you can maybe go down that rabbit hole. But here's where we are currently. We're kind of at a crossroads, right? Kind of on the fence where some of the medical practitioners are still believing in the diagnosed high cholesterol is over 200 milligrams per deciliter, you need to take a statin. Okay. Now there's other people on the other side that says, well, okay, if your total cholesterol is over 200 milligrams per deciliter, and maybe you do have a high LDL and maybe a low HDL, maybe we should look at some other things first before recommending a medication. Okay, so that's where we are right now. Now, it's really interesting because if you think of where we've been and where we're going, right? Because we can only compare based on where we've been and kind of put those lines together. I feel like it's pretty exciting these days. Now, as a registered dietitian, what I do with my clients when they do kind of have a little bit higher total cholesterol is I probe a little bit, right? So I ask them to do follow-up testing, and this is where the golden nuggets are going to be for this Ask Energy video. Do follow-up testing. So if you do have high total cholesterol, maybe a little bit higher LDL, maybe a little bit lower HDL, do some further testing with your physician or on your own because you can actually do that these days. However, you may not know how to interpret it. But here's the thing. You want to dig more. So the question is, should I take statins if I have high cholesterol? Well, let's push the pause button because you don't have all the information yet, right? The question should be, should I take statins if all of my blood lipids are negative and show increased risk for cardiovascular disease? That's a better question to ask, right? So going down this rabbit hole, when you do follow-up blood work testing, there is usually this test that is sometimes called NMR, sometimes called cardio IQ. There's a lot of different names for this. Basically, you want to look at not only total cholesterol, total HDL cholesterol, total LDL cholesterol, and triglycerides. Those four, by the way, are always part of a basic blood lipid panel. You want an advanced blood lipid panel. So this advanced blood lipid panel now goes, like if you think about an onion, right? We're starting to peel the onion back a little bit. So the outside of the onion is your total, is your basic blood lipids. Once we peel it on the inside a little bit and kind of see what's going on, that's where we learn really what's happening inside the body a little bit more in detail. So now what we're looking for when we peel the onion is the particle size of LDL and HDL. And I'm not going to get too much into this. We're also looking at ApoB, which has been really hitting the waves in media quite well these days. We're looking for LP little a, lipoprotein little a. Those are some of the main things that are covered in this advanced lipid profile. And honestly, those are some of the things that you absolutely need before you make a decision whether or not you will take a statin drug or not. So when we're looking at whole total cholesterol, that's not the whole picture, right? When you go in and you get basic blood work, that is basic, right? That should not be used to make any decisions, number one, on the medication, but number two, even on your nutrition, because there is so much more going on in your body that we want you to have a little bit more advanced blood work done so we can really see what's happening inside your body. So is measuring total cholesterol important? Absolutely, right? So measuring total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, HDL cholesterol, triglycerides, super important. But if you are presenting with higher numbers, meaning the higher cholesterol, higher LDL, maybe lower HDL, that is a reason to go get an advanced blood lipid test. That's what I tell all my clients. If you are presented with these kind of wonky numbers to start with, then go get an advanced test. Or you know what? Here's the other thing. If you have medical health history of cardiovascular disease, just skip the basic blood test and go right to the advanced blood lipid test, because somewhere in your lines, obviously there's heart disease or some markers that might show increased risk. You might as well just get the comprehensive blood work test done. Okay, so back to the question. Should I take a statin if I have high total cholesterol? I think I've probably given you a lot of information in terms of what you should do on that path. But again, not a medical doctor. What I would say is, before answering that question though, as a registered dietitian, go get more advanced blood work done first, because here's the thing too, biasly, with all of those results and that interpretation, you can also justify changing your nutrition to support what's going on also, right? So it kind of serves two purposes, right? So again, hopefully this helps. If you kind of think of it as a little flow chart, think of it this way. If you have cardiovascular disease in your family somewhere, go get an advanced blood lipid screening or advanced blood lipid panel, okay? If that is not in your health history, medical health history, go get a basic blood lipid test. Absolutely, hands down, that's fine. If something is a little bit wonky, then that could be reason to have a more advanced blood lipid test. But please don't make any rash decisions without getting all of the information, all of the biomarkers that you actually need to make a very concerted decision first, because a lot of times nutrition can actually improve a lot of these biomarkers. Okay, hopefully that helps. Thanks for the question. And because of this topic is pretty important. Just as a side note, I am going to hopefully encourage more people to ask more about blood work testing, biomarker testing, as it relates to metabolic health and cardiovascular disease. Because listen, I just scraped the surface on this. There are a lot of different biomarkers, additional biomarkers that I didn't even mention in terms of like homocysteine, fasting insulin. There's a host of them that we also look at with advanced blood work, but I just kind of wanted to keep this in the realm of just that total high cholesterol question. So keep your questions coming. Expect more Ask Energy answers regarding this cardiovascular blood work screening, because literally, back to the whole peel the onion example, we do need to take a much, much deeper look into a lot of our biomarkers. And I hope that is what this video has conveyed to you, is maybe take a step back, visit your physician, visit another testing facility, maybe Energy Performance, and we can get those more comprehensive biomarkers done so we can look at the whole picture, not just 1 to 3 biomarkers that may not give you a full scope of what's happening inside your body. Okay, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next Ask Energy.